What up, YouTube? It's your boy Banks. And we back in the building, you feel me? It's True Talks. Cause True Talks, alright? Let's get straight right into it. Bruh, so you already know, last night was definitely, it was a great game all around. It was a great game for the last 2 days. You had Saturday where it was game 5 with the Nuggets and the Lakers. And you already know how that went. The Lakers obviously, they beat the Nuggets and they transitioned and they advanced to go to the NBA Finals. Now they're there waiting. And then the next night, you had it with the Celtics trying to push a 7th game. You already know they won game 5 with, in good fashion. Basically, it changed and you thought something was clicking. But then the Heat, even within the game, were down in game 6 and then still find a way, which everything changed from when Tice got inserted into the game instead of Grant Williams finishing. And then that's when Bam went to work and he went, he carried and took over down the stretch. You get what I'm saying? And that's what changed the game and changed everything. So when that happened, obviously the game was changed and the Miami Heat find a way to close. They found a way to close. That's where, that grit and that grind, that mentality, just using IQ. That's what I do. And then the Celtics now, after a 1-2 lead was removed, and now we're in a situation where they had to just, fight back again. You could see it always comes down to, you could see when the game's kind of over and when the team is like, wow, we've lost and we kind of packed it in, is when they start just chucking threes and trying to, do the hero long ball. No pun intended. You know what I'm saying? But they try to do that, try to shoot their threes to come back. And then the same thing you see when the Clippers trying to shoot to come back, brick. Once you get like a couple 1-2 bricks, then that's when you're like, okay, clearly it just, the whole momentum changed. The whole demeanor just finished. And that team even knows it themselves, which is why they're chucking like that. Anytime you start seeing that, that team has, the other team, the underdog team has just advanced and just, they just gone they're going to the finals, and that's the Heat. And just congratulations to both teams. You got the Heat and the Lakers, which is great storyline in some aspects. And actually a lot of aspects is a great storyline. So we'll go into talking about that later. But first, before we talk about any of that, just again, congratulations to the Lakers. Congratulations to the Heat, especially y'all fan bases. You know what I mean? That's beautiful to see. That's beautiful to see. You know what I mean? Especially just LeBron, like, getting to the finals after how many years, year after year after year, going to 10 straight, then getting removed, now going to the Lakers with his 3rd team, getting to the finals again. Him going to the finals now is actually, even roster-wise, is more impressive than him having a big 3 and nobody else in the East having a big 3. Like when he was with the Heat, he had a big 3. So it's like 4 straight finals, big 3, big 3, big 3, versus nobody in the big 3 even had a dynamic duo. You know what I'm saying? Or their dynamic duo wasn't really an elite dynamic duo. Hence, Kyle Lowry and DeRozan. Now, when he goes back to the Cavs, he has a big 3 again. And your big 3 versus, at worst, duos. Or at best, duos. You know what I'm saying? Or just a one superstar. And it's like, it's just more destined. Obviously, it's still a task at hand anyways to go to the finals that amount of times. But he's more so the favorite in all those situations. In this situation, he was obviously a favorite, but a favorite being in his prowess, being in him, being as a dynamic duo. You know what I'm saying? In this situation, without no big 3 situation, because Kuzma didn't pan out to be that. Not necessarily his fault. It's more so just team dynamics. Fall into your role. This is what we want to do. AD, me, and that's it. Everybody else, we pick and choose. And that's honestly the best blueprint. You've seen Shaq and Kobe do that. You've seen Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen do that. You know what I'm saying? Kyrie and LeBron were a 1A, 1B, but they still had a big 3. They were just a 1A, 1B within the big 3. You know what I'm saying? Same with Wade and LeBron were a 1A, 1B within their big 3, but they still had a big 3 to fall back to. So I won't mention those guys in that category. I'm talking about just a strictly 1A, 1B dynamic duo. Even if we wanted a 3rd, we don't have a 3rd. That's literally what Shaq and Kobe was. That's literally what LeBron and AD are. And that's literally what Michael Jordan and Pippen were. You know what I'm saying? And that's where, and Michael Jordan and Pippen were actually a 1 and 2, not a 1A, 1B. But that dynamic anyways is that's the blueprint. Michael Jordan showed that's the blueprint. People have shown that that's the blueprint, and that's how it always used to be. And that's why I love how the league is slowly going back to that way. You have, again, a 1A, 1B with Jamal Murray and Jokic. You get what I'm saying? You had that with Paul George and with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. But the issue with them was they had too many people, like it's a big three and this, and there's too many dynamics, which again, there wasn't a hierarchy fully. There was starting to be, but there wasn't really a hierarchy fully, which is why you've seen it, erupt like that. Part of the reasons why. So again, I like how the trend where it's going, you know what I'm saying, where you have a 1A and a 1B type of situation. You're going to see that with Kyrie and KD. You know what I'm saying? That was supposed to be the case with the Celtics. But you see that with Jimmy Butler and Adebayo. They're more so 1A, 1B, but not really 1A, 1B. It's whoever. We have a 1A, 1B for the night. You know what I'm saying? And it could be anybody. So it's just, you're just seeing that dynamics, but on paper, it still is a lot of 1A, 1B, a lot of dynamic duos throughout the whole league. And that's why I loved Kawhi's decision in going to going to the Clippers, because again, it just brought new balance, pun intended, to the rest of the league. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at it from that perspective, this is why LeBron going to the finals this year, obviously it's less impressive when it comes to his path, when it comes to not facing the Clippers, especially being in the West. You're supposed to have that epic big matchup like Golden State has facing the Rockets, like Kobe has had all the time facing all these other great teams like the Spurs and all these other, actual big dogs, you know what I'm saying, facing the Kings, all this type of things. You always have to go through at least one, probably, that's even cap. You go through at least 2 or 3 big matchups, you know what I'm saying, where it's like it could go either way. And you have to prove. That's why people always say the West is tough, the West is tough. This year, LeBron didn't really have to go through any of that. The only one that was supposed to be a big matchup was supposed to be Westbrook and Harden, which again, it just exposed that they have holes within their games because they just double team Harden and it was a wrap. It shouldn't have been that way, but that's a different dynamic. But again, the way it's supposed to be, they didn't have to really go through that. And that's not a knock to the Lakers because you only go through what you're chosen. You only go through what you're handed, right? There's a reason why they also have that path because, again, they did right by the season and got the number 1 seed. So there's a reason why you have those certain paths. There's a reason why. It's not just luck. It's actually you playing into your hand, right? It's you just being more elite than the others. So at the end of the day, the one where it's like that matchup was supposed to be the Clippers and the Lakers and we didn't get it. And why? That's the Clippers' fault. That's nothing to do with the Lakers. So again, that was less impressive in terms of the path for LeBron, in terms of the route, in terms of the competition, right? But at the end of the day, you got to understand that the actual dynamic and it being him not having just whole OD stack type of team, that's where it's impressive. That's where it's impressive. It's him and AD and basically everybody else. And that's something where he's never really done to that magnitude. He hasn't done that. He hasn't done that with like I've been saying like before, like the guys I've mentioned. So the fact that he's doing that is great, which is why I expect him to win the ring and I expect him to get to that echelon of those guys because he's in the GOAT conversation that people put him in, but he hasn't done that GOAT type of blueprint that all of them have done. You know what I'm saying? So this is his time, and it's crazy the fact that he's older and he's able to do this is still a good, as something that's impressive. There's so many things that's impressive in terms of individual aspect and him and AD aspect, but other than that, you know what I'm saying? It's like I said, the path and those things, which is out of their control, has been the less impressive part. But again, you can't really knock and put and harp too much on that. So that's the impressive point. And that's the thing that, again, congratulations for the Lakers and even LeBron and AD and all of them in this situation is not easy, especially being in the bubble and all that type of stuff, obviously, right? And now we move forward to the Heat. The Heat, congratulations to them, man. You got to understand, like, Jimmy Butler's been named as the scapegoat. He's been named as, the guy who's he's not this, he's not that, he's not this, he's not that. He's Fugazi and all this type of stuff and just bad narrative. This is why you have to have a mind of your own and understand it was never Butler. It was the people. They weren't with the Butler. It was that simple. The people, all the people he was playing with, it's like they had different demeanors. They had different kind of mental games. They just weren't mentally tough. Jimmy Butler's a no-nonsense type of guy. Yo, you're going to get shots up. What are you doing? You've been breaking. He'll tell you, like, it's straight up. They can tell it, and he's not the type of guy that just can tell you, and then you speak to him, it's like, you're talking to me, I'm Butler. No, he's the type of guy, oh, okay, say word, I feel you, respect. He's that type of guy, he can take it, he can dish it. He's cut from a different cloth. And that's why I've always liked Butler, man, because that's music to my ears. That's how I move, you know what I'm saying? That's the same way. I can dish it and you can take it. It's the same way, like, come on now, oh, say word, you're talking like that? Okay. You can have that for one game. You inspire me. You got in my head where now I'm cheesed that now next game I'm going to snap. And I'm going to tell you, you know what? You are right, but just know I'm a Don. You know what I'm saying? But it's not like you're hating on that teammate. They're bringing the best. Iron sharpens iron type of thing. And a lot of these guys, their iron isn't really iron because when the next iron comes next to it, you realize that iron was really dull. And he doesn't even get sharp now. So he really wasn't iron. It's just pump fake. It's one of those plastic things. You know what I'm saying? It's a lie. It's a lie. And that's what happens. Jimmy Butler exposes a lot of those. You know what I'm saying? He's a different cutlery. My goodness. So, no pun. You already know because he's the Butler. If you got it, you got it. But anyways, like I'm saying, he's cut from a different cloth. So he's just different, man. So he goes to Philly. And people are like, oh my God. And people didn't understand why I say it's not just about him being a closer. It's the mentality. It's the poise. It's the calm collect. It's the where he doesn't really, before he even used to force things and do step backs and do more creating ability because he had to. But he looks and he's on a team where there's a bunch of scorers. There's a bunch of snipers. They run bare actions. It's not even really like a play. They just keep moving. They keep moving. It's kind of like the Golden State type of thing. Keep moving, keep moving. And that's how mans get open. And then you still have creators within that. Like Hero can create. Dragic can create. Butler can create. And then you have Bams, it's like literally, they literally have Golden State tendencies, but just deep, there's no, even though the weakness in defense, they have a coach that's willing to hide and push the needle to hide those guys, like put in a zone and then putting them at the back line of the zone is IQ. Most people don't think of that. You just have your position, point guard, shooting guard, run the top of the zone, but you can hide them and put them at the back of the zone, similar to like 2K and all that type of stuff. Real life coaches don't really do that type of stuff. So the fact that they're doing that, like they're pushing the needle, obviously Nurse has unlocked all these guys to run zones because they see how effective it is. And it's like, again, you got to understand, back then, running a zone was known as a weakness. You don't run zones. Like, you're basically telling your defenders you can't guard. Like, you take pride in your individual defense. What are you doing? You know what I'm saying? Which is why a lot of coaches that don't run zone often, they run zone here and there's a lot of player coaches, meaning coaches that have played before. They take pride. They've been a player, so they take pride in D'ing up. They've been on the floor where their coaches told them, yo, if you're really that guy, defend. Bring me that energy. Cut him off. Don't rely on getting beaten, all this type of stuff, and the help man is there. Defend. Take pride and ownership in your defense. And it's that type of pride that is like you give it into a zone. It's like, I can't guard. And it's just a mentality. It's a strong mentality where you're like, no, I'm not running zone. That's normally the players hate running zone. Obviously, they'll do it if their coach tells them to, but players, if you actually ask them individually, they like, I want to stop my guy. I want to mono your mono. Like, it's that pride. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, which is why you see Doc not wanting to run zone a lot of the times. You see even Steve Kerr, not even with Curry, they'll hide Curry. They don't run zone all the times. You know what I'm saying? His player coaches don't really run that. Like Kerr's been on the court with Jordan where it's like, I'm guarding. Lock up your guy. They tell him, Kerr, lock up. Even though you don't have the greatest defense, guard that guy. Or you don't guard him. You know what I mean? That's the conversations they're having. Pride. But these coaches who haven't been actual players in the actual NBA, obviously they might have played somewhere else. But players, they haven't been players in the NBA, you know what I'm saying? It's where they're trying to master their craft in coaching, which means you're going to do some analytical type of stuff. You're going to do some schemes. You're going to do some things where it might go against the player's pride, but now it's my coaching pride. I can't just watch there and see you guys getting cooked, man. No, I'm going to now do this. I'm going to move the needle a bit. I'm going to do this and mix and match and do that and all these type of things. And I'm getting in my craft in my coaching bag. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm here. And that's where you'll see the coaches that aren't really players, some do those type of things because they don't really have pride in that. Their pride is more so, I don't want to lose. Do whatever it takes. You on the floor, do whatever it takes. Me on the sideline, do whatever it takes. So I'm going to do whatever it takes. And that's where you get the Nurse, the Spoelstras, and all those type of guys, right? So when you look at it from that perspective, like, that's why it's like, I always live with the player's perspective, but as a hooper, but then it's like, you have to dive into different mentalities and understand their perspective and be like, you know what? I rate it, which is why, Nurse, I rate it, and all that type of stuff. So when you have that, he's able to push the needle. He's doing a lot of schemes, doing a lot of these different things. And again, it rewarded them into these things. Not only that, just the confidence, little things like Haslam on the side, being the OG, just, talking to mans, giving them IQ, being seasoned, being through it all. You know what I'm saying? When you have on the Celtics, you don't really have someone on that end who's been through it all. Even though the players itself are newer players, you have rookies and all that type of stuff. They coexist. They all have that strong mental game. Like you heard Bam say, we've all been underdogs at some point. We all have a chip on our shoulder. So when you have guys like that, and not only that, guys who hold each other accountable, guys who are dogs mentally, now when you throw a guy like Iguodala who has championship DNA, Haslam who has championship DNA, Eagles been to 6 straight finals now. Like, that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? So now you have that there. They know, they talk those conversations. Like, people don't, like, it's the same thing when you say, if you've been like someone who's inspiring to do business or anything like that, and you're in a room with, you know, someone who's an elite in business, even if they don't give you actual money, the IQ they show you, the way they open and unlock your brain to see in a different perspective. Yo, that's, oh, say word, that's how you do that. You could, bruh. And then you get, that's what goes a long way. And that's important of having a locker room guy. Even if he's not playing bare minutes, but he's seasoned veteran, he's the one unlocking their mind to certain things, unlocking their IQ to certain things that guys have to get through experience. He's experienced, so he can actually give you and educate you. So even though you still have to go through the experience yourself, but you're now going through the experience at a higher mental aspect and mental game above the rest who's going through it without they're blindsided. They're just going through it and then they're learning on the fly, as opposed to you're still learning on the fly, but you know how to learn on the fly easier than those guys because you've been taught some things. You know what I'm saying? So that's where those things go a long way. You can clearly see it. You have Eagle and you have Haslam. So, and not only that, you still have Spoelstra, right? Brad Stevens hasn't won as a coach. So it's like you have a lot of those things, and you have Pat Riley. Like, there's so many things, and it's just, man, like, even the fact that they didn't have any confetti. A lot of people aren't talking about that. The Heat didn't even have confetti. And I won't say I know, but I'm assuming that's a team decision because it's the confetti or colors. I'm not expecting the NBA to do the confetti for you. I'm expecting the team to decide whether we do confetti or not. The Lakers celebrated with confetti, which you always do that. So it's not like I'm on knock against the Lakers, but that just shows you how different mentally the Heat are, organization wise. Because obviously LeBron's sitting down and he's not happy with the confetti. He's chilling there. So you know individually how he's moving. So it's him oozing onto the team. But in the other situation with the Heat, it's Pat Riley and them from the head. Obviously the team think alike anyways, but them, Pat Riley and those guys are like, yo, no confetti, man. We come for the ring. We knew. While Mans didn't know that we could win a ring, Mans didn't think we were that. I seen the Heat and I'm like, yo, these guys can go to the finals. I've been told people. I never spoke about it on videos because I didn't really do the Heat. But in chats and stuff like that and talking to people, I'd be like, yo, the Heat, like, I actually could feel like the Heat and the Bucks before obviously the Bucks did any fugaziness. The Heat and the Bucks are like, I can see them coming up the East easily. Easily. You know what I'm saying? And then my sleeper would be Celtics. That was my 3. I never really had the Raptors. I never really had anybody else. It was basically them 3 always. You know what I'm saying? So I wasn't surprised about the Heat beating the Celtics. My prediction was the Celtics in 6 or 7 again. But the reason why I had that prediction was a lot of different things, which we'll get into that. But the Heat, man, like I was saying, basically, like, the owners, like, they're like, yo, no confetti. We came here. We believed in ourselves. When y'all didn't believe, when y'all weren't tuned into us, we came into the bubble. You know what I'm saying? Butler's saying no friends, no family. This is a business trip. Like, when you have your leader talking like that, come on now, man. Come on now. And then no confetti, though. We want the ring. Like, that's different. That's different, man. They're get it from the mud. That's that type of guys. Gritty, grindy. You have Jay Crowder. Like, it's beautiful, man. It's beautiful, man. Like, it's beautiful, man. It's actually beautiful. So when you look at it from that perspective, I'm just like, yo, this is gonna be a good series. This might be actually the best series we had yet. We had some great series already, but this one might be. It could easily be. We don't know yet, but it could easily be an easier series on either end, or it could go down the stretch. We don't know yet. I'm gonna go down. If I had to choose the latter, I'm gonna choose this guaranteed 6 or 7 series. I'm choosing that guaranteed. Like, it's not one of those, like, this is a good series. This is a good series. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of matchups to watch out for, all that type of stuff. You know, both coaches have ran zone. They'll throw, like, it's like, you know what I mean? It's a good series. Now, before we even get into the preview of the Heat and the Lakers, obviously we congratulated both teams, but I want to take some time to talk about the Celtics and the Nuggets, because again, I apologize for not doing a video breakdown. Obviously, like I told y'all, I've been gone for a couple of days. Obviously, you know, everybody knows my wife was celebrating her birthday and we went away. You know, we haven't done nothing, especially with Corona. We went away for a little bit, so I wasn't around, but now I'm back. Obviously, I could go in and do a breakdown and take some time or whatever, but it's just, I didn't want to take away. There's a lot of things I wanted to talk about. So that's why I didn't really do a breakdown. I could do a breakdown and break those things down, but I wanted to talk about all 4 teams. So it's better to do just me talking video, just giving it IQ, because that's what I do. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at it from the Celtics, we'll talk about the Celtics first. Now, a lot of people are saying, obviously, like, it's a theme that has been. That's why I was saying the Celtics are the East version of the Clippers, where it's a gift and a curse, where you have too many scorers, right? Too many shot creators, too many of them. You rarely see teams win with too many of them. People even talk about Golden State. Take it in. Curry could shot create. Even then, his shot creating is limited when it matters, because again, he comes off the screens and he only shot creates a lot when he gets switches. But regardless, he's still a shot creator. So you have him. Then you have KD. Clay is here and there. You know what I'm saying? He'll obviously mismatch. He'll do the post. He'll come off the screens. But even then, he can still shot create. And when you want to throw him into the mix, that's 3. You have 3 shot creators and scorers. And then everybody else is not that. They're not that. Livingston can here and there, but they're not really that. They're more so play within the role. And there's a hierarchy established. Even with that dynamic of the 3, they knew we go to KD, then it's Steph, then it's Clay. Clay didn't speak up about it, saying I need to get more shots, whatever. He, if anything, would cut harder, do all those things harder, because he's trying to force an opportunity where I'm gonna get it. And if he's hot, they go through him. So I'm trying to get hot, and he'd be doing his actions. But he knows that when we need a bucket, we go to KD first, Steph second, and then you. So there was a hierarchy established. So that just shows you don't need where it's only 2 scorers, a 1-2 option, 1A, 1B option, and then everybody else fits in. That's the blueprint for maximizing your 2 best players, because there's a hierarchy established, right? But there is situations like I showed you with Bron, Kyrie, Love. We knew that Love is the 3rd option. He's the back burner. And he even got disrespected and sometimes would be like 4th, 5th option. But regardless, he's the back burner. And then it's us, 1A, 1B within our big 3. We've seen that with Wade and Bron. You know what I'm saying? And Bosch was the 3rd guy. We've seen it happen with a big 3, where it can be that we establish a hierarchy within our big 3 and then the role players. You don't have to have it where who is going to have it this night kind of thing with our big 3. You could establish it. And that was the issue with the Clippers. No one spoke up and established it. You have Lou Will feeling like he's that guy. You have Kawhi and you have Paul George. Then you even have, for them, it's even worse because you even have Morris feeling like he's that guy. Then you have all these other guys, Harrow. And you know what I'm saying? It's just, there's nobody to, it's me. And good thing for Golden State. That's why KD went there. He didn't have to go and come there and say, it's me. They came to him saying, it's you. That was their pitch for him coming there. It's you. We need you. You're that guy. Come. So it's already done. Which is why game 1, you already see Steph going hella back burner, and KD has to tell him, be you, guy. Be you. I want you to shoot more. Kerr has to tell him, I want you to shoot. Then that's when he was trying to find his niche within this new dynamic. So you can have it where it's not, you can have multiple scores or a big 3 and still find a way to, everyone be humble within it and understand the abilities. Your ability makes you 1. Your ability makes you 2. Your ability makes you 3. That's it. If you want more touches, show me. Don't get mad. Show me. And that's where it is. But someone has to, whether it's the players, whether it's the coach, someone has to come in and be like, this is what it is. Which is why you have a Marcus Smart blow up, because I know defense, they're sussing or whatever the case is. I know he's yelling about defense, but a lot of it is, what are we doing on offense? Like, you could see they take turns, and this is why Kyrie was taken as a scapegoat. You know what I'm saying? Because like I was telling y'all before, obviously this team went further, but I was telling y'all before, Kyrie is not the issue. There's a hierarchy issue within this team. And Kyrie's been trying to tell him, come on now, let's do this. And he's like, they're young. Clearly, it's not about the ring for them. They want to establish their themselves in the NBA first. Which is why he said, I pity you, LeBron. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? For when, obviously, the roles was reversed when he was in Cleveland. So as you can know, when you're younger, obviously, it's not about necessarily ring. It's about establishing I'm that guy. Then the ring comes later. You know what I'm saying? So it's rare where you get like a Kobe situation where he will sacrifice for the ring at like 21, whatever, 22. Letting Shaq eat in the finals and all that type of stuff, right? So the point was you can have multiple scores. So this whole thing about multiple scores is the issue. It is, but it's not that they have to break that up. It's the fact that there needs to be a hierarchy to establish, yes, we have multiple scores, but this is the hierarchy of our multiple scores. And a lot of times that's the issue. No one comes out to demand that or put that out on the table. You know what I'm saying? And that's where a lot of the issue, right? Like even Marcus Smart, like take it in on the Celtics. You have Tatum, who is the hierarchy was starting to establish that he's the number one guy, which you can kind of get the sense. But then Kemba still has to go to work. And it's technically like, again, like it could be, and Brown is there too. So like you could have it where it's Tatum and Brown and then Kemba. Or you could have it where it's Tatum and then Kemba and then Brown. Or you could have it where it's Kemba, then Tatum, then Brown. You know, like it's either or. Like, so that's the sense that that's why I kept telling people, like when it came to Pascal versus Tatum is not even a clear-cut number one option on his team. And he's still averaging the same amount of points and doing more than Tatum. And then Pascal, who's the clear-cut number one option, who's just sussing. You know what I'm saying? That's what my whole perspective was with this whole, them going back and forth the whole time with people talking about them. Imagine Tatum, when Tatum was the clear-cut number one option, was only when Kemba was injured and he was averaging 30. And that's what I was saying. Every game you get the feel, is it Tatum? Is it Kemba? Is it Brown? Is it Tatum? Is it, like, you know what I'm saying? Then you still have Hayward, then you still have Smart. So you have 5 guys who can be scorers. Marcus Smart is more a role player, but even if you know him coming out of college, he can be a scorer. He can be. That's why when people are surprised, oh my God, Marcus Smart hit threes. He's a streaky shooter, but he can be a scorer. There's so many guys who are streaky shooters. Doesn't mean every shot they shoot is going in. It means when they get hot, they're elites. But the thing is, just the same thing like J.R. Swift. Are you hot all the time? That's why they're not shooters. They're scorers, but they're masked and have to be played like a shooter in a shooter role. And that's a different conversation. But anyways, you have 5 basically scorers. So when you look at it from that perspective, this is why it's like teams like the Nurse, now like Eric Spoelstra know that, yo, they're scorers. We don't want to let them one-on-one and have that little screen and they're pulling in gaps. We'll get destroyed if we let that happen. Because that's their comfort level. They're elite like that. We could do that versus other teams where we do drop coverage, ice the pick and roll, and we sag back and let force mans to do mid-range. They don't do it. But versus this team, too many guys can do it. No. Which is why you see Nurse implement a zone. Now you're not playing. Now you're telling those scorers to be a team, to be unselfish, play like a team, pass the ball, move the ball, use IQ. Don't just only do step backs. Don't only shot create. Don't only pull in gaps. Use IQ. And it's more so you put them in the same breath as now you got to play like us, where we move the ball, we hit cuts, we do this, we attack, we drive and kick. You got to play like that now. And that's where you can see the scores are clashing. And that's where coaching comes to play. Coaching comes to play. It comes to Brad Stevens saying, yo, they're in the zone. Tatum, go to the middle. This is what we're going to do. We're going to go through Tatum because it's a zone. And then through Tatum, we go through the middle. Tatum, when you get at the free throw line, turn around, catch. You're going to be open. No one's guarding you because it's a 2-3 zone. We put a guy at the 45. We put a guy at the corner. It forces the corner to stay corner. The guy in the 2-3 zone, the core or the 2-1-2, whatever you want to say, but it's mainly a 2-3 zone. Just looks like a 2-1-2 based on how Bam is moving. And if there's none in the corner, how the guys are gapping and shrinking and helping and rotating. But it's mainly a 2-3 zone. Now you put a guy in the corner, right? Basically what you do is you have one guy at the 45 and one guy at the corner. You have Tyson in the paint. This forces them in the 2-3 zone. One's got to stay at the 45, which is the guy at the top of the 2-3 zone. He's kind of like, he can't help towards the middle OD because he's got to worry about the 45. So he's got to shift over. You have the guy in the corner who can't help on the 45. He's got to stay to the corner because he's worried about that area in the zone. There's only one guy in the left, on the opposite corner who has nobody. And normally in the 2-3 zone, you're still just standing there guarding nobody, right? Because you're limited to your area. What happens is the middle is going to be open because Bam, who's the center, has to stay at Tice on the block in the paint. So IQ would have to be whoever's on the opposite corner has to go to Tatum at the middle, but he's not going to realize that and do that right away. He's used to just guarding his area. So you have one guy guarding the ball handler at the top of the zone, which is Jimmy, and you have Jay Crowder guarding the 45. Just put Tatum at free throw line. That's what Tice was doing. And he was wide open every single time. That's why he was able to sometimes shoot it. Sometimes he'll do a floater, and he was killing at the middle of the zone. You put Tatum there, catch. Once he catches, turn around, shoot. Even bare times they had Smart or Kemba run to the free throw line, and they'll catch and just do a touch pass out. Even Gordon Hayward, catch it, just do a touch pass out. You catch it, you turn around, you're open. That's an easy jump shot. If not, now you penetrate, he helps, you throw the alley to Tice. It's just easy. You can literally kill the zone off of just placement. You don't have to move OD. Just place your guys properly. Now, the only way for them to get out the zone, they're going to have to take the guy from the corner and put him at the free throw line. So now you're back basically in man. Then Tatum can kill mano a mano with a baby on him at the free throw line. It's that easy. It's that easy. But that's, again, comes down to coaching. That's why I said Brad Stevens was sussing. Even when they weren't doing that formation, you don't have to do that necessarily. Attack the middle of the zone. Attack the middle of the zone. Penetrate. Now they suck in, you kick out, as opposed to just moving on the perimeter when guys are literally letting you do that because they're guarding a gap, they're guarding an area. Like, it's crazy. And that's why they had a lot of turnovers and a lot. It's like they're trying to score like it's man when it's a zone. And that scores a lot of times don't recognize when, okay, I just got to stand still and spot up and you do you. And just, it's hard for the players. It's not hard, but when the players are accustomed to playing, man, you don't run zones. Like, that's why people are surprised. Oh my God, NBA players can't play against the zone. They played against zone their whole life. That's different. Now, when you're in the NBA, you never see it. You never see it. In fact, the defensive three in the key even prevents you from running the zone sometimes. You have to push the needle to run a zone within that limitation, which is what teams have been doing now. You know what I'm saying? So it's like they're not used to it. So now when you do it, it's like, shit. You're thrown off. Everyone has to be on the string and has to remember, coaches don't even game plan for zone. But now there's no excuse when they've been running zone and it's been time and time again, you've been running zone. You have to know how to play against them, man. It's just terrible, man. And they look good. And that's what I was saying. The time for them to actually beat the zone was when they have to get defensive stops and push in transition. That's what they did game 5. And that's made them feel nice. And that's why you now seen them even move like it's man in the zone and do shot creating bag because they're not in the zone the whole time. Because when you push the tempo, guys can't just run to their spots in the zone. They got to stop ball, pick up. So Ben Butler might be at the bottom now and it might be in a man because he was the first one down on the break. Like, you don't let them set. And that's why I was saying push the tempo. They stop doing that. Even off misses, come up slow. They go back to their zone. And it's just different, man. So I don't think the Celtics, I'm hearing people blow it up and they need this and that. They don't have to blow it up. Again, also too, Brad Stevens sus by putting in Tice when they had the lead by a 6-point lead with like 5 minutes left. They put Tice in, Bam went to work and killed him. And he got his 2 fouls and he was out the game. The whole game changed just like that. So when you look at it from that perspective, like there's a lot of, like, again, Brad Stevens will get better. He's not like he's a scrub coach. He's an elite coach. And he was doing a lot of adjustments. They were literally fighting each other. Obviously, Spo got the best of the battle, right? But Spo didn't have to adjust bare times. He just committed to his one thing. It was mainly Brad Stevens adjusting. Do I put Robert Williams? Do I put Grant Williams? Do I, put in Tice? Do I put the small ball lineup with Jorge Hayward? And there's a lot of, obviously Spoelstra was matching it too, but there's a lot of things Brad Stevens was doing that the naked eye didn't see, but he was doing constantly, right? And he would unlock new things each and every time. It's just, the Celtics would it comes down to basically like them offensively. Obviously, this is the thing. Celtics have great defense. They were switching everything. They're playing great defense, but them offensively, without pushing the tempo when they have to play against the zone, they were taking turns and you could see it. And it always came down to that. Even when Kyrie was there, they would take turns. There's no hierarchy established. So that's why their closing has been a struggle. And I always tell you, yes, you have closers, but when you don't have a hierarchy, your closers don't look like closers no more. Because you're overthinking it. It's like, okay, I finally got the opportunity. I better make it. So you're going to force a shot. You're not just naturally playing. When you know that it's closing time, I'm getting the ball. Because Hero could be going to work. But Butler knows. And when it's closing time, they give it to him. And Butler can make the decision to go to Hero or choose. But they know. Everybody knows. So when a hierarchy is established, you're not moving and panicking within the moment or thinking, I got to get this bucket, I got to do this, or force things or anything. You just know I'm getting it. It's me. So I don't need to force. Oh, it's not me this time. Here, they double pass, whatever. They don't do that. The Celtics don't do it. It's like, it's my time to prove that I'm the closer. Everyone's trying to make a statement. There's no hierarchies. Trying to make a statement so then they can use this footage as the hierarchy. And that's what happened. So it's like, oh, they picked my number for Tatum this time. He might shoot on a double team. He might force a 3, whatever the case. Oh, they picked Kemba for a hierarchy this time. You seen him. That's why he was dribbling out the double team that one time versus the Raptors. Obviously, he made the pass. But, like, it's like every time he's trying to prove that I could do this. It's me. Brown, it's me. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's what happens all the time. So it's like, that is part of the issue, obviously being scores or whatever. But it's not the issue to, like, they can't succeed or can't do anything. It's an issue of, to break it, you can still have those scores. You just have to now establish a hierarchy. That's what it comes down to. Establishing a hierarchy. Someone coming out saying, this is what we're going to do. Yes, I don't want you to sacrifice, but you have to sacrifice. You know what I'm saying? You have to sacrifice. We're going to go Tatum, this, or we're going to go this. This is the hierarchy. It will change within a game depending on who's hot. But at the end of the day, this is what it is. You go to the corner. Only if you have a mismatch. And you know what I'm saying? Even Brown, sometimes there's mismatches, you can give it to him. This is why on transition he forces it. Because it's like, this is my opportunity. And then he gets turnovers. And it's like, there's so many things that happen. Marcus Smart don't get, now he forces it. Hayward don't get it. Now he's going to do the 1-2 dribble pull up in the gap. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of things going on. So that affects them, especially down the stretch. They look lost. They look like, is it me? Is it you? Is it like, that's what it looks like. There's no hierarchy established. So that's their issue with the Celtics. And that's where it came back to bite them, as opposed to the Heat. They're yet less talented, but they have a hierarchy established. And they have an unselfish atmosphere established where it doesn't matter who's going to work. You know what I'm saying? So now when you look at it from that perspective, that's always going to go a long way. So now when you look at it, the Nuggets do have a hierarchy established, and they do have those things. But the issue for them is, when you have the hierarchy established, sometimes you do need another score. And that's where it is. This is where people are like, oh, Banks, you're flipping you're moving the goalposts. No, like I said, you can have your 1A and 1B as a success, and then bear role players. But if your 1A and 1B isn't to the highest of echelons, where no matter through double teams, no matter through what they could take over, and obviously you have Murray who's hobbled, and I know he could take over, and he has tapped into a higher echelon. He's that guy. You know what I'm saying? But when he's struggling, this is why you have to have a benefit of, there is a hierarchy established as, these are the 1A and 1B, but you're the third. Then that's MPJ. You're the third. This Millsap playing, and that's why I said, like, that's just why I rate Kerr so much, because he's been in a situation where it was David Lee. David Lee got injured, right? And then Draymond emerged. It's tough for a coach to read and react to situations long term where it's like, this is working. You know what? Yes, that guy's the veteran. I have to sit to him, tell him, you're coming off the bench now. It is what it is. You have to get humbled. Sometimes coaches they don't believe in, is it really a shift where this is what's happening, or is it just a 5-game moment, right? Let me go back. Let me keep the veteran. And that, you don't understand. When you do that, you tell that player that you don't believe in it. Not only that, you just suck the whole rhythm. You know what I'm saying? You have to realize at that moment what is going to be good for long-term goal. Not just this season, but how can we actually win a ring? You're not going to win a ring with Millsap being the third option at this old age. Maybe other years. Not at this old age. Not at this old age. And you should realize that this is where Mike Malone, this was my only issue with Malone, because I have him as a great coach. And I have him as, he's elite. You know what I'm saying? But it's just like, you've seen what Michael Porter Jr. was doing. You've seen him what he's even been doing, even in those games. That's why he had the audacity to even say, you need to move the ball. Like, I need the rock more and all that type of stuff. Obviously, it's bad timing. He shouldn't have done it, whatever. But he's not wrong. That's why I said he wasn't wrong. He was wrong with his approach. He's not wrong with the logistics of what he's saying. He's wrong in how he did it, the time, and all that type of stuff. What he's basically telling his team, all of that. He's wrong in that, yes. But with the actual words he's saying, he's not wrong. And that what came back to bite them. And I always knew it would be. Because Mike Malone did not unleash Michael Porter Jr. And I've been saying unleash him. So in situations, Murray doesn't have to. How many game 7s, 3-1 comebacks is he going to do? Snap and snap. It takes a toll. And he's injured as well too. Like, it takes a toll. And Jokic doesn't be aggressive to that moment. That's why I said it has to be Murray and Porter Jr. being aggressive. Jokic can pick his spots. And he's such a playmaker at heart. If he has a bucket and he's going to go to work, but he sees a dime with his peripherals, he's going to choose the dime over his shot. 9 times out of 10. He's just a playmaker. which is what LeBron also does in those moments. He's a playmaker. He's going to choose the corner pass opposed to, no, even though that guy's open, I'm the better take. He's going to just go to right play, which is right at moment 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe even moment 30, but minute 40, 41, 42, 43, those right plays aren't always the right plays. The right plays are the more guaranteed plays, which is me, one-on-one, my bucket. I trust it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's KYP, knowing your personnel and knowing your situation. KYS. You know what I'm saying? Knowing what's going on. So it's like, Michael Porter Jr. he needs to be that third guy. That third guy where in all fails and nothing's going right and whatever. Come on now. It's that time. Help me. They didn't really have that. They had it where it's like ball movement, okay, driving kick. Maybe you could hit it, Jeremy Grant. Maybe you could hit it. What's it called? Gary Harris. Maybe you could hit it, Craig. Maybe you could hit it, Monte Morris. You know what I mean? Off the double team and all that type of stuff. And it doesn't move like that always, man. It doesn't move like that always. So it's like, when it comes to that, man, the Nuggets have a great foundation. They can beat them, and the Celtics are like two teams, young teams that can, like, for the future, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. But they have to make decisions where, do we care about what our full potential is, what we actually can do, which is win a ring? Or do we just cater to what we have and say, it's going to be your turn, You know, just wait it out. You have veteran. You don't do that shit. You establish hierarchies from now so you could get time in that role, in that place out, in that role, in that thing that you want. You get time doing it. So now that you're doing it within that hierarchy, now that you're playing within that hierarchy, now that you're playing within those roles, if you lose within that, is now that experience is good, because you can't, a lot of times you can't. So obviously the experience is still there, but you remove some of the experience when that guy's experience is an experience as a number 3 option. That guy's experience is as a role player. So now when you are actually, we can win a ring this year, and he has never had experience as the number 3 option, there's a chance for failure because he still needs that experience as the number 3 option. This is why you have to roll the dice and be like, you know what? I envision that our best and us actually winning a ring versus these tough, great teams. Murray, Jokic, we already know 1A, 1B, however, 1-2, whatever you say. And then Michael Porter Jr., and we will be unlocked. I'm telling you. And you know that you see that. So it's like, you know what? Forget what it is. Even if we don't win this year, let's do it. Go, throw you to the wolves. Now, if you don't win, he's getting familiar with that number 1 option. So now when that time comes where everyone and the aura around you, this is our window, win a ring now. We're familiar, we're good, we're seasoned. We've been to the conference finals. We've been this. We have all that experience under our belt. Now's the time. Everyone's already in that. Everyone's on the same cylinder. Everyone's tuned in, as opposed to you wasting opportunities or wasting experience because, he's not ready yet, or this and that. And that's the case of MPJ. But on the case of the Celtics, you're wasting opportunities by not establishing a hierarchy. You're not getting comfortable and getting experience as that hierarchy. Now when it's going to be your actual time, your hierarchy's not established. So it's like, you know what I mean? It's different. They're more seasoned, even without the hierarchy. It's still like, when it's their time, they'll be better because, again, regardless, they're all getting shots up. So it's better as opposed to the MPJ case. But regardless, man, you gotta pick and choose, man. You gotta pick and choose, especially for the Nuggets. You gotta pick and choose, man. And that's why I said that's gonna come back to bite them, and it did. And that's what came back to bite them because they were in games. But Murray was gassed. Murray was injured. And then now it's like, what do we do? And then the Lakers just took over. LeBron just took over. You know what I mean? So it's like, MPJ wasn't even in the game. It's just crazy, man. It's just crazy. Millsap doing what? Anyway, so it's True Talks, because True Talks. I know this was a long one just to make up for the couple of days where there wasn't no video or anything like that. I will be doing tomorrow Miami Heat Lakers preview on my predictions. I'm not going to do that yet. You know what I'm saying? Regardless, I think it's going to be a 6 or 7 game series. Y'all let me know y'all predictions and let me know why and whatever the case is in the comment section. You already know there was a winner for the giveaway. Shout out to Kiko Smooth on Instagram. He's the one who won it. And, he won the $200, the $200 cash prize. So just, again, there will be one later down the line. People think, oh my God, you're pump faking. No, I'm not pump faking. I actually sent him the money. I sent it all, you know what I mean? Sent it to him and he received it. So, and he was amped. So regardless, man, I know a lot of people be doing those giveaways just to get, just to get views and just to get, people traffic to their page and all that type of stuff and be pump faking. And there's actually nothing. But there actually was something. You know me, I'm a real man. You already know. I'm not no pump fake. None of that. Real recognize real at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? So I will let y'all know when there's another one. I will let y'all know. For now, already know it's True Talks, because True Talks, share, like, and subscribe. We will be doing, especially now that there's one game, every single game of the finals. I apologize. I know y'all want to breakdowns on the Celtics and the Heat because it was a great series and stuff like that, but just things have happened. You know what I mean? And a lot of things have been going on. So, and then there's been multiple games and then this and then that. Just things going on. Eventually, we will get more solidified. I'm a one-man crew, so you have to just bear with me. You know what I'm saying? But we will. Again, I'm just waiting for it. Once the finals end, we will talk about Raptors. We will talk about other things, especially with the offseason when that time comes. A lot of things we'll talk about. Again, you already know. So share, like, and subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. You already know. And the Clippers as well, because I have a lot to say about them. You already know. But it's what Elite looks like, man. We got a good finals on hand. And I'm out, man.